Anyone can give me a check on audio? Do we have audio? Nice. Hello, gang. I see y'all. I'm a one-man show today with the help of Doc. So Doc's going to help me get organized. We'll start soon. I'm opening it up to the public a little bit just for them to see what we do here. Hey now. So FRC is off the board, basically. I don't quite understand exactly, but basically the FDIC took it over, sold its assets. The sale price to JP Morgan sounds about half of what it was on Friday, or last time I saw. So you're already hitting the like button. I like it. We haven't said anything. I have sold puts in it, so let's see how they happen. The way I understand it is, if the person that bought my puts does not own shares, they cannot exercise. But if they own shares, I'm on the hook. My break-even point is like 6.5. But I've done 3 or 4 trades on it already, so I think I will break even overall in all of my trading in FRC. I've never traded FRC before this breakdown. I bet a couple of times and I won. 3 times and I won, and this is the 4th time, and I did not win. Oh, it's so hilarious. Let's see what happens. I want to stick with it to see how the thing happens. Yeah, bought puts without shares, they lose. So maybe I got lucky. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I don't see an assignment yet. Oh my gosh. I don't know how fast that thing happens. I don't know anything of what happens there. So I even asked ChatGPT. By the way, I must have had a conversation about 2 hours long, maybe 3 hours long with ChatGPT this weekend. Trying to program some stuff. Yes, conversations. You heard me right. That thing is pretty insane, to be honest. Okay, so I posted something on Twitter. If you want to retweet, that would be great. Hey, nice to see you up and about. I like the picture. Morning Firefly. All right, I guess we can transition to charts. Let's see here. Transition. Way. And we're live. All right, so I'm going to open it up and start placing your tickers. Give me tickers so we can lock them in. Oh, okay, that's gonna go without saying. Hello, Safar. The ES, it's on the screen. You should be able to see it right now. Basically, what happens in the circle? You should be able to see the screen, right? Sandman. We have two Sandmans here. Yep, okay, good. AI, all right. Don't buy, don't buy. For you, Sandman, the ES is on the screen. You see that circle? Just read the lines. They're the February fight, the August fight, and a whole bunch of stuff. So this is it for the S&P. The QQQ, the NASDAQ, is already above that level. Those of you in the regular live room, we are on YouTube live. You can join us there and smash the like buttons like 600 million times. We'll come back here when the market opens. Ah. Okay, we got Tesla. What else? If you don't give me tickers, I'm going to start making up stuff. Don't increase the quality. It's like 5 in the morning for me. I haven't prettied myself up. Keep it dim. Boeing. Okay, what else? Microsoft. What does Microsoft do again? What kind of a company is that? NVIDIA. NVIDIA has some sick AI tools. This might be a game changer for NVIDIA. Listen to me. Don't short NVIDIA. Schwab, what else? We will put FRC on the list since you mentioned Schwab. The VIX? Okay. 0. Because that cornhole is going to have to cut rates, apparently. Nike, what else? The Goog. I'm going to put GOOGL. What else? Who's reporting this week? Well, nobody asked for the king of stocks. I'm going to put Apple there. Netflix, all right. I finished Netflix, by the way. Can't find anything to watch. What else? Come on, we have 2 minutes before we start opening to the world. Qualcomm? Don't they have earnings? And if they do have earnings, mention it so I know how to deal with it. Coin and on. Coin, avoid, don't buy, don't buy. I want one of those buttons that says that. Bitcoin, do not avoid. Did you guys see? Did you guys see what's going on with Bitcoin? The BTO. Another dividend over 40 cents. Yes. The gift that keeps on giving. That's 80, almost $1 in dividends in 4 months. On a stock that cost now $17. At the time was like 11. How crazy is that? It's like, what is that? Air math. 30% yield run rate? 30% on BTO. Don't tell anyone. Shh. I put Meta. I put Bitcoin on semi coin. CHWY for a call spread. Alim, CHWY is bothering me. I have a credit put spread and it's under fire and I'm not comfortable with it. We'll add it to the list. What else? I know you guys are tapped out of tickers because we did 2-hour session yesterday, but let's do it for the world out there. We have Microsoft. Nobody asked for Tesla, did you? Yes, the second one. Twilio, sure. Palantir. Palantir reports earnings this week. I'm staying long. Twilio was getting interesting. I don't know if they reported earnings or not, but they should be pretty close. I got NVIDIA, but no AMD. Let's put them back to back, side by side. AMD reports tomorrow, so I'm going to tell you to join us tomorrow. Yeah. We can, if you want to trade the AMD earnings, use the NVIDIA stock. They will move in sympathy, and they will not, whatever bet you take on NVIDIA, if you get it wrong on an AMD, you won't get completely blown out using NVIDIA ticker. I unrestricted the comments. They asked me, do you want to slow it down? No. Do you want to restrict it? Hold for it? No. Let it fly free. Let's see what you guys can do with that. And if you have Twitter, retweet my post this morning to get people here. The one with the link. Please and thank you. Okay, we should go live, and we're going to start charting. Let's go down the list. Okay, first things first. JP Morgan, okay. You will do that right next to FRC, JP Morgan. 0501, save. Thank you. Let's start with the S&P. This is the futures for the S&P. So if you don't know what that is, it's called the E-mini. It's the ES, and it's basically the SBUX plus or minus. And you can see all these lines. They've been here for months, if not over a year. Like this one is from last summer. So I put a circle. I said, amazing test for the bulls this week. The NASDAQ already exceeded its test. The NASDAQ is a little above these yellow lines. These two yellow lines are the fight for this year. It's the February high. One is the close and one is the actual high for that day in February. The NASDAQ is, let me show you via the Qs. Where is it? Is it below it? Quite a bit. Anyway, the NASDAQ has exceeded that line. Maybe we'll do it on the Qs. There they are. Okay, so these two lines are the equivalent two lines from the futures, the E-minis. So you can see that the NASDAQ bounced above it, went above it, and came and bounced off of it. So if they can beat the April fail, then they're making the progress towards that. So this is what's going on this week. And the person that can mess this up is on Wednesday, Powell. I don't know if you've heard, FRC failed. It was taken over by the FDIC and sold its assets to JP Morgan. And if I'm reading the numbers correctly, I am not an expert. If I'm reading the numbers correctly, we'll talk about it in a minute, but they basically, it's like a private bailout. So the depositors are not going to lose money, but the stockholders will. What happens to the puts sold? I have a sold put. Let's see what happens to me. I'm not assigned or anything. So if the person that bought my put does not own shares, they lost, because they cannot exercise on me unless they own shares. Now, if they bought a put to protect their shares, then I lost, because I'm on the hook from my put level, and I start losing from my break-even level, which is 6.4 or 5. So I would have lost $600 per contract. But that would still break me even with the other trades that I've done on it since that thing started. So it was a good exercise. and a learning experience. I have never been in a situation where I sold a put in a bank that got taken over by the FDIC and sold privately to a company. So the bank branches will continue operating so the people that have money in there got saved. That's what's going on. And this is the scenario. So I guess we're jumping, but we'll check it in a little bit anyway. We have that headline and the markets are not falling apart. I'm bringing this up because Powell can mess this up on Wednesday. Now there's a 90% chance built into the market of a rate cut this year. Now, if you look at it on the surface of things, why the hell do we need a rate cut? There is no, Heather, look up. There's no reason to expect a rate cut from the numbers. But these bank failures are directly because of what Powell did. The fastest rate hike in his history. That is an incredible statement, okay? So he broke the world. I told you he would break something. Those were my comments last year when he started doing this, and I was so pissed off and calling him all kinds of names. I saw this whole thing coming. Because when you do stuff that has never happened before, you must take it easy. And he did not take it easy. They acted like they knew. Nobody knew. In fact, that's 3 of the largest 4 bank failures in U.S. history, I think, happened in the last 3 months. Chew on this one for a second. In our entire history, the 3 largest bank failures, 3 of the 4, happened this month, in the last 3 months. Not a coincidence. This is a direct action of our government's policy, which is to break the world on purpose, to fix frickin' inflation. You see why last year I sounded insensitive by saying, let's let inflation run because the alternative is going to be painful, very painful. They did not know what they were doing. So that's the scenario. So if this Wednesday, somebody in the question and answer asked him, what about the rate cuts? And he says something like, I don't think we see enough pain in order to warrant a rate cut. We are going to correct hard. And the breakout continues. We're going to fall into support, 4,000, 39.80, 39.50, and try to hold that and bounce off of it. It wouldn't be the end of things, but it would be a nice sharp failure from these levels. Which levels? If you joined us a minute late, this is the S&P futures contract. This circle has a bunch of lines that we need to cross over. The 2 major ones are the 2 yellow ones, which we're at this morning. That's the February failure. And the NASDAQ crossed it. These guys are trying to cross it. So that's the whole story this week. And then Powell, and then and then Apple, and then we'll see what happens. All right. So I think Powell is the biggest catalyst this week. Having said that, let's jump into some stocks that were posted as requests. And I'm just doing them in the order within which they were posted. Feel free to add more. Tickers as we're going along. Okay, so far, if you want to know which tickers we have, let's see here. Those are the tickers I have. I'm going to do them in that order. So this is AI. I'm not a fan of the stock. I'm not a fan of the company. This is a takeover story. I think it can bleed down to 14 if the story disappears. Like, I think it was getting bought out by someone. I forgot who. But the chart is not acting like that. It is a decent base for the last few days. You have sellers. If it bounces to 20 or 21, you should have sellers. Headlines aside. So we do have a base down here. So the breakout happened from down here. This looks like a pivotal zone from before. So it's okay that they are holding it here. If you want to draw a box around where the support is, it's in here. So anything below here should have support minus the headline. But you can see how before the headline the stock was going to zero basically, right? So it's not a pretty story. The sellers may still be in charge of it. If I own shares, I would not add QH. I don't remember if I've done QH before. I added it to the list. And ARKK. All right. So not my favorite stock. If I have shares, I'm not adding. If I'm looking to buy shares for the rumor, I guess I could, but I wouldn't take all in. I would leave room on the side. Let's see here. The second one is Tesla. And there's a lot of chatter these days not favorable about batteries and EVs. Nothing I haven't mentioned before. I've been on that story for a long time. Tesla stock is fine. It has, I added those, it has reason to fall more because it has downside pressure and a weak spot somewhere in the 140s, 145 plus or minus a couple of bucks. Last week, it did well averting that. It triggered the drop to it, but it did well averting it. But by looking at this chart, you can see, let me take this off. You can see that this is a tough spot. It was support, now it's a battle zone. It could fade down and lose last week's support and end up down in that area of 140. And if you want to see it on the chart, it's fairly visible how there wasn't a lot of consolidation here. On the way up, it was just too fast. It just left, okay. It just left holes. It's not out of the woods. There are going to be sellers at the 168 here and 168 and 172. So it may curl back down. The opportunity to do this is here. And if the market's hiccups, this one will do this. And will be an opportunity to close. Now, I am short puts in this one. And profitable? Yes. 20 to 25% of maximum gains. I don't think I'm going to close them. I'll take it. But let's see. For now, I will trim it. But I don't have a reason to get out of it. So I noted JD, Disney, and Intel. Let's hope we have time to do all of that. Boeing. It's been range bound. I did a video on it the other day. Somebody did not like what I said. It's still stuck in a box. So Iron Condor is the only way to trade it unless you guess up or down. It may have a surprise to snap it out of this consolidation. But look, this is pretty long time to be quiet for such a big company. So the immediate catalysts are about 213 and 198. 213 and 198. Okay, so concentrate on that. That's the first line of defense. Actually, 214. So closer to 198, it should find buyers. Closer to 214, it should find sellers. If it breaks out of those two, it will go in that direction. Oh, thanks, Heather. Appreciate it. Yeah, Microsoft. Don't forget to hit like as we're going. We need to beat last time. Last time was less than 2 times ago, which was pretty fantastic. So we were slackers. Microsoft. Ascending channel. Don't short it. I was saying earlier, I spent about 3 hours chatting with GBT this weekend. Yes. I was actually trying to do something with code on ThinkScript and PineScript. And we were going back and forth, but it got stuck in a loop. Like, it would give me code, it would mess up. I would give it, telling it it'd mess up. Oh, I'm sorry, this is version 5, version 4, and it would rewrite the code, but then we ended up in a circle, and I said, I'm giving up, and I walked away from it. So it is a fantastic tool. It's not perfect, but the future is bright for AI. This one, if you look at it, it's in an ascending channel. They're buying dips. I would get long on the next dip if it happens when it happens. Meanwhile, they just took out a breakout zone. The target is much higher than here. So that alone probably can get to 330 and 335. Having said that, there should be sellers at 315. So that's why I don't want to start longs here, even though it could go higher. I think there are easier stocks that could rally, especially that they exceeded my expectations on this pop here. So it has support into 285 plus or minus $5. So this is a story of buying dips. Every dip is being bought here, right? So I should think about buying the next dip at the risk of missing some upside from here. You have credit call spreads on both too? I would be very, don't fight the, what? So revisit why you took them and see if you still have that reason. You don't be shorting them because they rallied fast. They could stay overbought for a long time. So this week you need Powell to help you out, Bill. All right, you remember I was trying to tell you not to be short those stocks and to put stops, etc. So don't forget those comments. Above 282, this thing is gone. Above 282, this thing is gone, NVIDIA. And there are reasons other than current business in NVIDIA to be excited. I took a peek at their AI tools. Wow. Okay, so there may be sources of income that are not foreseen by the current business. So be careful shorting this. This has been one of the strongest stocks even through the period of time when the market was teetering a little bit. So I don't want to be fighting the strongest gazelle or chasing the strongest gazelle. They are buying every dip. The moving averages have not crossed over bearish yet. So technically speaking, it's still not weak. It's in the hands of the buyers. So I said vulnerable, but it's not playing out. Now, if it falls below 261, it might come to 245 or 248. If it falls below 261, basically not an obvious entry point, but it's definitely not an obvious shorting point either. And this week you're a blink away from breaking out some more, and you need a headline to lose that 290, 261, which without Powell's help, this one should be at 295. It's a tough short, is what I'm saying. So be careful. AMD could make it or break it, actually. I forgot about that. AMD reports earnings tomorrow after the bell, I believe. For that, come join me in the live room. I'll give you the clues from the options. If I'm looking at this stock, this particular stock, regardless of what it is, 93 should be tough. It should not be easy for the bulls to just blow past it. There's a good base below around 85, 84, and a good, really good base below that into 80 or 78. So I am in the mode of, if it falls on earnings, I will jump in and sell some puts in that bad boy. The earnings reaction is completely based on human factor because about expectations. So to trade this, if you want to bet up on this, it's easy to bet up on NVIDIA because NVIDIA just needs a sneeze and it's gone up, right? So if this rallies 4%, NVIDIA must rally 2%. And if it does, it breaks out and it takes off. So the risk of losing a lot of premium for getting it wrong in NVIDIA is much lower than this one. Let's say this one drops and you play this earnings with NVIDIA calls. Your calls will not be completely demolished. Don't use this week's. And definitely don't use this week's to play NVIDIA. We'll talk about it live for the members, so you can just join me live before they report earnings, and we will definitely discuss that. All right, so we have AMD, and next is Schwab. This is going to be reacting today to the headlines. I don't know where it's at pre-market, if it shows pre-market down a little bit. So if you haven't heard, FRC went into receivership to the FDIC, which means FDIC took it over and said, you guys don't know how to run your business. I'm taking it over to protect the depositors, and forced JP Morgan basically to buy it at a discount. So that's why maybe JP Morgan stock is up. We'll check in a second. As a result, this reacts like FRC. So like, now is this next? I don't think it is, but is this next? So I'm going to lose money on some FRC unless I am super incredibly lucky, but that's what's going on here. To me, we made money on Schwab, sold puts in the, I don't know when, here somewhere. If it falls into 48, I would be tempted to sell puts in Schwab. However, being bit by FRC, if I lose money on FRC, I'm done playing with the regional banks. That was my YOLO bet, and I won 3 times, and this 4th time looks like I'm losing. Overall, I'm probably breaking even. But I don't want to expose myself to Schwab. Now, if I own Schwab stock, I would stay in it because, well, I would consider staying in it. Technically, you have 56 as a wall and 48 as a super strong support. So that's, and you have a good support at 50. So those are the numbers. 56 plus you breathe a sigh of relief. 50 and 48. Okay. Next is FRC. No need charting it. It should be off the board. I think now it's 50% down, but that's because the sale, I think, was about 40 billion, which is a little bit less than half of what the last number I saw, which was 108 billion valuation. So it is, that's what the stock price is, showing. It's down 50%. That's because the number JP Morgan bought it at is a lot less than what they had said it was worth when they reported earnings. So this is a trade gone bad for somebody catching the falling knife. I wouldn't trade it. So you're done with that. Let's see JP. JP basically is spiking on the news. Yeah, up 4%. I'm not sure why. Let me see here. Okay, I would not get long JP Morgan here. All right, technically it's breaking out, but I don't know what's to the left of here. And that, 150 was a big ledge, 150, 148. Not an obvious entry point, although this looks like a breakout. It will follow the market up or down. I'm not sure where the market's going to go. I think up. So a better entry point in JP is closer to 138 or 134. Don't chase it blindly on headlines. Don't be that. Somebody asked for the VIX. The VIX's next stop is 0, apparently. It was below 16 yesterday or Friday. It's not broken, but if the rate is if the Fed is going to be cutting rates, the VIX will fall down to 13 and hang out. When the Fed was cutting rates, the VIX could not break out of 13-ish, 12 to 15, 14. At some point, it was single digits flash, but it stuck around 12 for a long time. It was during Bernanke era, I think. So if he's indeed going to say that we're going to be cutting rates, that's a QE, folks. QE. This is how dumb this government is. We went from, whoa, shut down everything, a bunch of money, and then rate hikes like we've never done before. Literally, it was the fastest rate hike in history, and they broke everything. And then as a result, we had 3 of the largest bank failures in U.S. history happen in the last 3 months. 3 out of 4. We had 4 major bank failures. 3 of them happen now. Not a coincidence. So this is low, but it could fall lower, but that's fine. I don't trade the VIX. I buy VIX calls when I need insurance. And I've been telling people, if you need insurance, and not everybody needs insurance, but if I have $100,000 invested, why wouldn't I spend $300 to $600 here and there protecting myself? And I wouldn't let them expire. I would choose them 6 months out, 60 days out, so 2 calendar months out. And if I lose money on my insurance, so be it. You lose money on your insurance every day. On your health insurance, house insurance, car insurance. I don't cry about it. Oh, I didn't use my health insurance. I wish I had an operation. You never say that. I didn't use my car insurance. I wish I had a crash. You don't say that. Well, you didn't make money on your insurance, but you didn't have a stock market crash either, so that's good. Nike. Nike is a beast of a company. They have excellent marketing and they are controversial, but don't ever bet against it because of controversy. They've always turned around to a plus. This is 132 is a breakout to 152 with a lot of resistance at 137. So 132 is a catalyst, but it's a lot of resistance until then. So the question is, it was in a descending channel. Is it now in an ascending channel? And if so, then they will buy the dips. So it could curl up, fail one more time. So here's a possible path. Little tiny breakout here that could bring it up to here. A little hiccup, come up to here, and it could be here next. So that's a possible path. I put it here because there are sellers hiding there from prior fails. So it's not an opinion, it's a fact. And then if it falls into this area, it's a good starting point. Of course, any of these areas are a good starting point. Good support at 116. I don't know if it had earnings. If you ask for a ticker, you need to tell me if it has earnings. I think the Nike already reported. I know the Alphabet stock already reported. So here's what you do. Very simple. I put a box around the earnings reaction candle, which is pretty ginormous. And then I'll put a smaller box, which is the tighter zone, fight zone. So basically, you have sellers at 109 and bigger sellers at 109.2. But really, I think the number is around 110. And if it clears 110, it goes to 1416. Meanwhile, if it falls into anywhere around 102 or the slower end of the box, which is 101 and change, you should find buyers. If for some freak out reason it goes below 100, it may slip another $5 from there, which would be a good entry point. So basically, you're saying they're this close from a breakout, and they have plenty of support below. Sounds familiar? Yes, it sounds familiar because that's the story in the S&P as well. All right, Apple. They report earnings on Thursday. So don't pay attention to what I say now, because when we get to Thursday, it's going to be a coin flip. In fact, it's got the Powell coin flip first. So if you want to bet on the earnings for Apple, you can bet now, and maybe you make some money before we get to it. I forget what this is. Let me go to a daily chart. All right, so it looks like whenever I do this, I copy price action from before and see if it's going to repeat itself. This looks like this, copied over and pasted. So this could be the pattern. So Apple could be at 172, 175 in the next couple of weeks, provided Powell doesn't mess things up and the reaction to earnings are like, like Google and Amazon. I know the violent reactions, but if they deliver a boring earnings report, Apple is going to be, there's probably going to be a relief rally of that, oh my God, this is not a disaster. And then it just continues to trade based on everything. All right, let's see here. So Apple, come to me on Wednesday night. It's going to be a freaking mess. But after 2 o'clock, Cornhole would shut up. We would look at the Apple action in the options to give us clues as what's going to happen with Apple on Friday morning. That's all I can tell you. Meanwhile, if you're long, enjoy it. You can go indirectly long Apple by going long the QQQ, basically, or the S&P. Apple is the market. It is the king of stocks. Netflix. Apparently, I finished Netflix. I can't freaking find anything to watch. And I think the reason why they don't let me have a button that says, don't show me shows I've watched, because they would have nothing to show me. I don't know. So the company's doing okay. Short term is drifting lower, but it has plenty of supports. So if it falls into the 300 area, it's going to find buyers. The immediate support is at 316, 316. The immediate failure is at 340. Let's put a box around that. Actually, 341. Actually, this is the box. This is a tough range. I think it'll find buyers in this lower end, lower third, and sellers in the upper third. So how do you do this? You trade it by going long if you're an active trader in this area. Anything close to 318 or lower, and you stop out if they lose the box, because you don't know how low they go, even though it has support into 300. And if they go above the upper end of the box, they go a little bit higher. That's how it will go, I think. So range bound for now. If you know how to sell strangle or straddles or iron condors, that's probably the best way to play it, if there are no earnings, and it doesn't look like there are. Also, when you're looking at earnings, you should check its competitors. Like if Disney reports, if Roku reports, I know Roku reported, you should look at other tickers. Like if you trade Qualcomm, which is next, it has competitors, so see how its competitors will do. Now this green chart, green pattern that looks like an M, says that it could go to 120, and then maybe a little bit more. I won't mention the second number because people will pile in long. It has sellers into 118 and 119, so there are sellers here. I could move this one to here, but it is probably headed lower. Oh, earnings are coming. Okay, so on Wednesday, great. No issues. So you're taking your hands, your matters into your own hands, and it's a lot of luck, because you have Powell and its earnings on the same day. Holy crap, I would avoid this unless you're playing a lottery ticket. The better play would be if it collapses on earnings or on Powell, then it would be a buy the dip opportunity into a lot of good support zones, 1 and 2. Well, Nick, if it's support zone, can't I go long? You can. But I wouldn't go all in, because it might suffer a little dip extra. And I think if it doesn't recover and hold at 112, it could go to 102. Shares would be best, so time is not an element. Okay, coin. We have a half an hour to go. Let's see here. Coin. If you know me, you know that I've been saying that I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't trade coin. I would trade Bitcoin, because coin's P&L is not that pretty, I think. Let me double check. Yes, it's not. Look at what happened. I mean, the P&L is falling off a cliff and nobody's worried about it. Sales are like 1/3 of what they were in 2021, and the trend continues lower, and the spending is not slowing down. So this is a disaster waiting to happen. Now, it could trade well. It does have support around 47.50, 50 to 45 does have support, but here's the problem. Coin has headline risk from Powell, from markets, from coin itself. Oh, earnings are coming. Oh, okay, yeah, hold your breath. From coin itself and also from Bitcoin. So I would rather risk my money in this type of stock in Bitcoin. And BITO is a good one, and you should look into the dividend in BITO. It is fantastic. I think we're going to get paid this week another 40 cents. 40 cents. That is amazing. All right, so earnings makes it a coin flip outcome. Somebody's asking me if I should buy calls in Apple. Only if you think the markets are going to rally. So Apple will move with the markets, and Apple has Powell on Wednesday and its own earnings on Thursday. So you got double coin flips going on. So if you feel lucky, then go ahead with calls. If you feel lucky, you can bet that Powell's going to mess things up, which is a good chance. You go with puts because Apple's not going to rally alone. Apple's earnings are going to be fine. It's the emotions. What are people expecting from Apple? So calls, it's up to you. Your guess is as good as mine. The chart says the bears are on their heels, so calls is not a bad idea. On semi, the dip was a buy opportunity. I discussed it with a few people. The reaction here is positive. So where is it? Pre-market at 75. This is not an obvious entry point. I think there are a bunch of sellers in here. Like if I said support 1 and support 2, they used both. I'm going to take this up here and put it here and say this is going to be a resistance zone. So yes, it will follow the market until it clears 80. If it clears 80, it gets to 84. But going into 76 and 78, there are going to be sellers there. So it will need help from the market. Not an obvious entry point is my statement there. Bitcoin, I'm still long. I'm staying long. It had a spike yesterday, or yes, it did. So if it takes out this recent high, it gets to 32 or 33, which is a major turning point from the way down. The second most major turning point on the way down. It cleared the first one around 25. So if we hold 26 and take out 31, I think the next battle zone, similar stock price action. Let's see if I can copy this one. Let's go from here to here. I think this stuff can happen again. This is like not scientific. Okay, something like this. That it's going to drift higher eventually. And if it does collapse, I have profits from a very low point. So personally, I'm staying in it. If I don't have longs in Bitcoin, I would buy dips. But I'm not talking 2 to 5% bigger dips. So if you've never had crypto, then you should nibble on BITO. And if you wanted to own 100 shares of BITO, which represents Bitcoin, I would take like 20 and wait to see what happens. Okay, Moderna, I'll add it to the end. If we have time, we'll do Moderna. All right, here's the list, and we've done a whole bunch. Merck, we'll add Merck. We are in that list up to Meta. So Meta is a company that changed its name to Metaverse in order to represent what it's willing to do. And so recently the stock is doing a lot. Going into the earnings for weeks, I've been saying I want to short it, and then when we looked at the earnings options data, I said nope, they just opened the door. It looks like they opened the door for a big rally, and it happened. Now look left. Stock ABC, whatever this stock is, this is not an obvious entry point. But Nick, there's a giant gap up there. Yes, but that is a giant line of 260. So I think it might go into the gap and pile a bunch of people in, stall for a couple of weeks for those people that bought calls to lose money, and then it probably gets into the gap. It would be ideal if it drops to 220. At least fill this one area of weakness. And I mean, you can convince me that this area does not need to be filled, but this one is pretty obvious. But let's see what happens. A small dip, at least halfway, would be reason to get engaged along with this one. Short term, it's hard to gauge. It just rallied a bunch. So jumping in just feels wrong. So you should just say to yourself, I missed it. Let me see if I can get into a stock that is falling. Like if Apple falls this week, it would make a better long than this one. Maybe. Don't short it though. This metaverse thing might be, with AI the way it's going, it might be a lot faster than we thought. All right, CHWY. I'm long CHWY and suffering because it can't find a freaking bottom. Let's go to a daily chart. It's at levels from last September. There's a gap open to 29.5. Well, it wasn't a gap. It was a gap and they filled it here, I guess. Weak spot in the chart. But it also marks a breakout from June of 2022. So let's hope that is indeed a bottom. But the problem is when it rallies, it's going to find sellers from 34, 36, and 38. So all the rallies are going to be labored. Luckily, my position is a sold put spread, and it does not need a rally, but it needs it to hold 30. So personally, if I'm long via the short put spread, I would decide to take shares and sell my protection for a break-even point around 29 or 28. All right, let's see here. Amazon. We don't have Amazon on the list. Okay, we'll do Amazon and Snow. Palantir has earnings. I'm long shares. I'm not closing them. If it falls, I will buy more shares. My entry point is in the low 7s, so I won't add unless it falls to 6 or 6.2. Then I may add a little bit. The company's financials are fine. I don't know what they're going to say. I don't know what Wall Street expects. So technically speaking, it has support at 7.3-ish and has a lot of sellers at 9. So ping pong between those two. If you lose 7.3, you might get a buying opportunity, and I would get long below 650. Consider. And if I'm not long, I would definitely. And if it breaks out of 9, it might test 10. I wouldn't get long into 10. So you got a big range to play with, and earnings coming soon. If you want a shorter time frame looking at that, you can see how they're selling rallies. So a lot of rallies hiding up here, a lot of sellers hiding up here, and a lot of buyers hiding down here. This is the financial crisis. So if it falls to 720, you can see that that's my entry price in the stock. I think it should find buyers. So Palantir is a good company so far. TWLO is an excellent company, and I would buy dips, and it can't find support, and it's falling into prior support. So if I were, earnings are coming, bummer. If there were no earnings, I would sell puts in this bad boy. I will have to wait to see what the options tell me to bet on TWLO stock, and I underline the word bet. The reaction to the earnings is binary. If it has one of these, I will sell puts in confidence. I sold puts in TWLO at 25 years ago, like years ago, and here it is. You know, if it has this reaction from here, it'll be in the 20s or 30s. Come on, that's crazy. But they lose a lot of money. That's okay. They lose money. They earn. They grow at an incredibly fast pace. So unless they tell me they can't grow again. Really, somebody asked for QH? What the heck is QH? Yeah, I don't know why you would want to bother with this one. The chart's not going to help you on investment in this one. Let's look at it. Yep, not for me. So good job if you're long from here. I would, unless it's an investment, I would book it. There's no help. Look at this candle here, this area. The chart is not going to help you. This is study the price action in that stock, and you'll do better than me telling you what the chart says. ARKK. ARKK looking like it wants the bottom. Palantir, isn't it? Maybe, maybe not. But it's the kind of stock that trades like the IWM. So the IWM and ARKK are probably similar charts. Not even. Let me see. No. But this is the company, ARK Invest, is not liked on Wall Street. This is a base from March, and they're at the base from March. So they are lagging the market. They need a bounce here, otherwise they'll be at 32, which would be a much better entry point. So I'm going to put an alert there for myself. Study which companies are in it. I think Tesla is in it, maybe top 2 in it, and some whole bunch of other companies. The top 10 companies are names you would recognize, and they are about usually 50% of the whole ARK. Sellers all over the place. Until it clears 41, I don't believe the rallies. So don't go along if it gets to 38 to 41 without knowing your time frame. Sellers into 37 and above. Technically, this green M multiple ones tell you it should be rallying and it hasn't caught fire yet. So if you go long, you must say that I'm going long against this bottom at 35 and I would stop out if it loses 35. That would be how I would approach it. So the long entry position would look something like this. Stop out here somewhere so you don't get faked out by a little poke, and ask for, I don't know, a 1 to 3, 1.3 to 1. That would be a good one right there. So this would be an order entry for betting up if somebody wants to bet up. Make sure you stop yourself out. I'm not recommending trades. I'm saying how I would trade it. JD. To be honest, I don't want to bet on Chinese companies. The last 2-3 bets on Baba won, but I feel like I got away with one. This is same story as ARK against that. Bounce or fail down to 28 or 27. Meanwhile, if it does rally into 40, 42, and 44, it has sellers. So it could bounce, but it's in the hands of the sellers on the daily chart. Earnings are coming, so complete coin flip there. Let's see here, complete coin flip there. So not my favorite stock right now. I think we did trade JD successfully as well. Disney. So Disney worked well with us. We went short somewhere up here. We went long exactly down here on that day because it hit my target here. Sorry. And now it's bouncing according to this pattern. So it looks like it wants to break out from 102. Let's see if it can do it this week. They beat prior fails, but they're still dealing with ones just before it. So if I take all the lines out, you can see that it's struggling with prior peaks. If this week they can hold 100, they have the opportunity to fall into 100 and come back and take that out. So I wouldn't chase it long, but if I sell a put spread and leave room for error, maybe. And don't short it because it has some upside potential. Earnings this week. Come to me, not this week, but come to me before the earnings in the live room and we'll deal with that. Only 45 likes, folks. Didn't we hit 100 last time? What? We only have like 20 minutes left. What's going on? Let's do it. Let's see here. Let me go post it again. Maybe I need to post another time on Twitter. They'll probably stop me. They'll say, you can't post twice within half an hour. Live ticker reviews on YouTube. Let's see here. Taking a little break. Breather. I need it anyway. Oh, they let me post it. Sweet. Okay, back to charting. What did we? Intel. AMD reports Intel will move in sympathy, but Intel looks like it's trading in its own little Idaho. I would not go long Intel into this area. If they take out 34, they can get to 38, maybe even 40. I'm not impressed with the management overall. They are underwhelming. That's probably the best description of Intel. I used to be a fan saying if you want to own it for the long term, it's a good company, will come back, blah, 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 blah. But I have not heard anything good from the management yet. The reaction was favorable, which is the exact opposite of last time. And I didn't hear anything that exciting. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they're still the biggest company and they might still take over the world again. But for now, NVIDIA is eating their lunch. AMD is doing better in terms of headline. So trade the stock. Support at 29, resistance at 34, ping pong between those two, and chase the breakout from that. If it loses 29 or 28, it might fall back to 26, which would make it a good entry for an investor. For a trader, it's a boring scenario. If you're an investor believing in it for the long term, just use shares or sell puts, buy calls as a stock replacement strategy. That would be the best way to do it. The least amount of money out of pocket. Thank you, David, for posting that ES book. I appreciate it. Okay, Moderna, somebody asked. So this is a going into, so these companies are prone to headlines every day. It's like they have an earnings potential headline every day. So for that reason, I personally don't trade them. And technically, this is falling into prior support, so it should hold support and bounce towards 160, and with a lot of resistance around 145. Now, having said that, they do have earnings the 4th, and that should be a coin flip reaction. Last one was down, the one before that was down and up, and the one before that was up and up, and the one before that was up and down. So clearly it's a complete mess. Technically it has pivot levels from before. They're still valid. Look, I'm just bringing it over this way. Whoop, I moved it. This is where it was before. So they failed at that pivot zone, so it's still in play. We can take, look, it behaves well. We thought this was upside, it hit it, and then it fell apart. So resistance also still in effect. In fact, it's right here. Just be careful. Losing 120 could bring it down into the 2 digits, and people don't want to believe that. It is doable, but it wouldn't be my like focused on it. All right, so if you're a member, you know what to do with the likes. If you're new and you see what you like what you see, or at least you like the effort, hit the like button and consider becoming a member, because we do good things. We do this all day, by the way, all day, live, minus my beautiful face on the camera. I'll share my screens, but not my camera for now. Okay, Amazon, the company is still doing okay. The report was mediocre at best. That rally was the dumbest rally I've ever seen in my life. Why? Because it made it impossible for Amazon to break out for the next 6 months. So this was the prior fail that they needed to break out from, right? And then this happened overnight. Look at how it raised the bar by so much. So this candle here, it is monstrous for, thank you, Dave. This is the most, if somebody said, build a resistance area, this would be it. It's like reinforced concrete. Water break. It's reinforced concrete. It does have support. So the best we can hope with Amazon stock is headline that takes it right through it, or an inching up with the higher low trend that you see on your screen. The buyers are there. They're buying dips, and the story is still positive. The growth is no longer there on the retail side. The growth in the internet space is still solid, like 15%, but it is about half what it was before. So concerning, yes. Alarm, no. It's not reason to collapse, but it's definitely not reason to spike 7%. So technically, buyers are in control. Dips into 100 or 97 or 95 are reasons to engage long, unless we get a new shoe to drop, like the banking crisis. Like if they say we have another 15 banks on teetering of collapse, we have to consider that the March lows may not have been the March lows. That's not my scenario, but hey, we've seen worse surprises. Snow, I think I'm long. I can't remember. I haven't checked my book today. But via credit put spread, and oh no, I think this one expired. Yes, we were long via a sold put at 144 or credit put spread, and it expired last Friday. It was close, but it worked out. The range is tightening. You see higher lows, lower highs, and so there's going to be an explosive move somewhere around 159 matters, and definitely through 130. If you lose 130, you do have backup supports, but you don't want to test that idea. All by itself, I believe it's a decent business if you judge by the P&L. Okay, they spend a lot, but at least the P&L is still healthy. And you do have earnings coming soon, late May. Yep, late May. So you can trade it into the earnings, however the posture you think. If the market's going to rally, I think it has an opportunity to get back to 159 and break out and stall at 170. So if I was doing an iron condor, I would do it just below current price and above 165 if I can for the next couple of weeks. But other than that, there's no direction. So if you get long now, you're guessing. If you get short, you're guessing. You have a hard seller at 158 and a hard buyer at 135. Actually, a little bit lower, 132. So let's do that. Actually, this is the box that I would put for now. This is the playground for the next couple of weeks. So if you buy a call here, you're guessing this way. If you buy, if you bet up, you're guessing. If you bet down, you're guessing. It's in the middle. All right, I think this is, these are the tickers. Some came in afterwards. Let's see, LSCC. I don't know what that is. I'll mark it. Lattice. Okay. They're buying dips. They're losing the trend. So I think rallies into 88 will find sellers, if not 85. So yes, the bulls are in charge to a degree, but wait, is that earnings today? Tonight? Yep. So coin flip. If it rallies into 92 without the earnings, there should be sellers. This area has sellers, and you have buyers below. So if it dips into 68 or lower, I think it would be an opportunity to buy. 60 would be great. All right, I guess we can do these. X and Starbucks. You're welcome. If you like it, you want to thank me, hit the like button like 4 times. Does it register more than once? If the same person hits the same like button, I don't know if that works. X. So this is aluminum, right? Alcoa? No, US Steel, sorry. Okay, I have a story for you on US Steel. This is not a pretty chart. It looks like it's going to 19 after a bounce. They report? Yeah, I think it's headed towards 20 to 19 because rallies are going to be sold. It's almost a guarantee. Unless they can prove me wrong by going above 27, then I'll shut up about it. Until then, I think the rally is going to be sold, so it might do something like this. And then go back down and drift lower. Rinse and repeat a couple times. So you can do this and then this to end up down there. This might be a descending channel starting here. This is my forecast. You know, whether it happens, you do have support zones. I'll move them forward. Nope, not that one. I don't have anything against it. I'm not trading it. So, okay. Thank you. So, SBUX. Oh, top. Somebody asked me about top yesterday. They said, have you seen top? I'm like, no, I have not. Whoa. That's Starbucks. You can't short a stock that strong, even though it's going into pretty bad. So if they clear 118, they can go to 130. This looks like a breakout. So if it dips into 107 or 108, that's the way I would get long. If I'm a trader, I would say, oh, I missed it. Earnings? Tomorrow. God, it's so annoying. Assuming it didn't have earnings, this would be a buy to dip in order to get higher. But come to me tomorrow, or before they report. If they report tomorrow morning, come to me tonight, and we'll check the options chain, and we'll guess how it's going to go. Let's go to top. What the what is this? Holy crap. Okay. That is out of control. Oh, don't hit the like button more than once. It takes away your like. Look, we're at 86. Get us to 100. If you haven't hit the like button, please get us to 100. Please, come on, triple digits. What do you do with this? Nothing. I don't do anything with this. My goodness. Good job if you're long. If you want to consider the last couple of days worth of data, you have a buyer lurking at 48 and a hard seller around 109. And maybe a small seller at 90. Zero to hero, my goodness, right? That is amazing. Come on, 7 more likes. That is crazy. What is this? Why is it like what did it, like the opposite of FRC? Did the money run out of FRC into this one? And is this sales? What is happening? Look at their quarterly statement. I mean, they don't have quarterlies. They're yearly. I don't understand what this is. What is this? All right, so give me one more ticker. One more ticker. No tickers? Ah, come on. BA, we did BA earlier. It's still range bound. BA is still range bound. NCLH, it was in the news today. Oh, Merck. I'm sorry, Merck was asked earlier. I missed it. Yes, Merck. It's, oh, wait. Let me do Merck. They asked earlier. So Merck earnings? No earnings. In the hands of the buyers, they're buying dips. If it goes into 108, what? If it goes into 108, it would be an opportunity to get long into the support zone, and then they might drift up to 124. Good job, Merck. That's a good looking chart. Okay, let's see here. Merck and NCLH, and that's it. We got to go. The market's going to open in a couple of minutes. We got to get ready. Okay. So this looks like it's stabilized unless it's moving this morning up 1.5%. So you do have a seller at 14 rounding. If they take out 14, they take another dollar up from there. Whoops. If they dip into 13, they should find support and 1250 as well. If for a freaky reason they go below 12.1.2, they might drift closer to 11. At which point I think it would be a good entry point. Oh, they reported already. That's good. So don't short this. The fans of the stock are really, really good. So do not short NCLH. Let's see here. AMAT. Applied Materials. The hands of the seller, and they're trying to stabilize. So you have a zone below 111.5 through 109 of buyers, and you have a hard seller at 116. So look for the moving average to curl up a little bit and see if it can cross the slower moving average. Pick two. Doesn't matter which ones. I think these are 30 and 50. So if you see that happen, then they may be snapping out of this, and they may be headed back to 117-ish. Hey now. All right, folks. We got to take a break so we can transition into the live room. I appreciate you coming here. If you're not a member, consider becoming a member. It's a lot of fun. We do this all day. If you are a member, thank you for your time and efforts to get us up there with 100 likes. I see it now. Yes. I appreciate you. Let's go do some damage in the live room, and I'm going to abruptly end it here. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. I'm going to end the stream abruptly in 4, 3, 2, 1. Later, Oliver.